The functionalist perspective is one of 7 theoretical perspectives in sociology that offer a variety of explanations about the social world and human behavior. Created by Herbert Spencer and further developed by Emil Durkheim, the functionalist perspective defines society as a system of interconnected parts that work together in harmony to maintain a state of balance and social equilibrium for the whole. It emphasizes this interconnectedness by focusing on how each part influences or is influenced by others. Functionalism interprets each part of society in terms of its contributions to the entity as a whole. Social institutions, the different areas that make up a society, are key factors for the stability of said society. Their purpose is to promote stability and integration, and if one of these institutions experiences a crisis or fails, the other parts must adapt to fix the void. In the film The Interrupters, we're introduced to several different ceasefire advocates, but the 2 most influential of these violence interrupters are Amina Matthews and Kobe Williams. Amina Matthews is the daughter of Jeff Fort, one of the most notorious gang leaders in Chicago's history, falling just below Al Capone. Amina's father had little influence on her life. However, she still found herself running with the wrong crowd and became a gang enforcer. After having an enlightening moment speaking to her father, Amina found it was time for change, so she became a part of the ceasefire movement. Kobe Williams turned to the streets after his father was murdered and his mother began abusing drugs. And although he swore never to get caught up in the lifestyle that his father had led, he soon found that was exactly where he was. After he served 12 years for drug trafficking and attempted murder, Kobe was released from prison and decided to make a change in his community by trying to end the violence directly at its source while he still had the respect of the streets on his side. The purpose of the ceasefire movement in Chicago is to stop the gun violence that plagues the city streets. It is not to replace the police or the criminal justice system, but rather to work side by side with it to help improve the community in a way that members of said community are comfortable with and can more easily relate to. We can see the functionalist perspective at work in the film when we're introduced to Lil Mikey. Mikey was incarcerated for almost 3 years after holding up a barbershop because his gang was at war with other local gangs. While serving his time, he was able to reflect upon his actions and empathize with the victims of his crime to realize the error in his behavior. Because of a want for forgiveness and harmony to return to his life, Mikey insisted he be taken to the barbershop he robbed to apologize for his actions. This shows that, while not always the case, the rehabilitative goals of the criminal justice system succeeded, reaffirming the necessity for such an institution. Because Chicago is a city in crisis where the criminal justice system can't fully extend to help and control the violence, ceasefire was created to try and restore equilibrium to the society. While we see several lives turned around for the better, such as Flamo and Lil Mikey, we also see several instances where ceasefire falls short, as Amina is present for a few of the local kids' memorial services. The group has no real way of anticipating when or where violence will occur, therefore they can only act after a conflict has already started. The functionalist perspective, while great in theory, often tends to view the world through rose-colored glasses. It places an emphasis on harmony within society, creating an almost utopian feel, while downplaying or ignoring the dysfunctional processes, such as discrimination or oppression. This in turn can lead to more conflict by trying to push it down rather than deal with it head-on. The functionalist perspective makes looking at and dealing with conflict seem easy due to a downplay of the troubles that plague our society down to its very core. On the flip side of things, the conflict perspective looks at society as being on the constant brink of chaos, thus creating a sense of paranoia about interactions with others. Since there is no ideal perspective that fits all theories, bits and pieces of each can be applied to study the different aspects of our society as well as human nature.